So this is going to be my commentary of my new Richter mode PB in Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. Not the best run ever, but a decent run I got on the Dominus collection. Starts off with the previous run, which got absolutely destroyed by that ice sword. You can see it one-tap me from full health. So starting off here, we have Richter mode. This is the alternate mode you get when you beat the game and defeat the Whip's Memory boss. That's the requirements for unlocking Richter mode. First off, the first real thing in the run is the chase sequence with the behemoth. Richter is actually the only character who has to do the chase. Every other character in their any percent category, obviously like a no out of bounds category is different, but in the any percent category, Richter is the only one who has to do the chase. All three other characters can skip it. So I did a really important thing there that's going to be super important over the course of this run, which is I swapped characters. When I got hit by that behemoth and I landed, I swapped, and that canceled the landing recoil. Because whenever you switch in this game, you are put in a neutral state. And I also have used that to do slide switching, which you're going to see right here. So slide switching allows me to slide, switch, and then slide again. This is slightly faster movement than just vault kicking over and over again, which is like the normal movement you would do in this run. And it's what people did for a long time. You can also see that Richter has one of the best uppercuts of any Castlevania character. It just goes super fast, super high. It's actually faster to spam it over and over again, because every time you start it up, you get a little burst of speed. Something else that I haven't talked about yet that I've done a lot, actually, is these dragons. This game has Marvel-style assists, so you summon in your alt character, and they do a little attack. And it costs basically only mana. It doesn't slow you down at all to summon a dragon. So we take heavy use of that throughout the run. Especially in this first area where we're still pretty weak, we need to defeat some enemies. So one really annoying thing about this category is the button to change your sub-weapon is select, and you actually can't rebind that on the collection. One of the few things you cannot rebind. So coming up is going to be the first boss, Dullahan. He's not going to be there for long. I'm going to do the first damage stack of the run. So the way damage stacks work, and I'll go into this more later when they're relevant, but you hit an enemy with 4 hitboxes very quickly, and your last hitbox does damage on every frame. And later I'll go more into the technicals of why that works, but you can see kind of an average start, not great, not terrible. So our goal in this category is to clear all the portraits, and that unlocks the final way to Dracula. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 portraits we need to beat, with a boss at the end of each of them, plus a few extra bosses in the castle. We actually aren't going to be taking too many warps in this category, but I opened that one because we do need to... That warp is basically right next to one of the portraits. We don't want to do that portrait now, though, because we're a little under-leveled, and we also just need to get this next portrait out of the way. This next portrait, the Sandy Grave, is kind of off in its own little corner of the map. But we have to do a fair bit of running to get there. I should note that the Richter mode doesn't have any of the major glitches and skips you would see in like a Jonathan Charlotte run. That was unfortunate RNG. New strat here for new for me, where I throw the dragon there instead of just jumping over the guy. So something pretty minor that you probably wouldn't pick up on if you were just watching this without commentary is that Maria regains when you're in control of Maria, you regain MP much faster than when you're controlling Richter. So I try to take advantage of that in some places, because MP can be pretty tight. I skipped the heal. Skipping the heal on 93 is a little scary, especially because I'm prone to getting hit in this next couple screens. So there you can see I slid as Maria. That was for two reasons. One, so I could go into the neutral state as Jonathan, and not Jonathan, Richter, excuse me. And two, so I could regain a little bit of MP. Not that it really matters here, because you don't use MP on this fight. This fight is one of the worst fights in the run. It is basically pure RNG. You hope Astarte does the attacks where she doesn't kill you. Do I heal here? I have to on 35. So yeah, the reason that fight we do as Maria only is because she has her temptation, and if any male character gets hit by that, they get stunned for a long time. Well, it doesn't affect female characters at all. Alright, so we are going into the next portrait. We can basically start it right away because we opened that warp earlier. This is going to be the Nation of Fools. Right away, I'm going to open this warp for a fast backtrack later. Nation of Fools is very scary because it has saws and fire everywhere. Thankfully, we have some... Well, I got an unlucky Medusa head spawn. So you won't see it fully, but I did do a flash kick to go through one of the flames. The flash kick is a command input. It's back forward attack. Hitting your command inputs, I don't know what that was. Hitting your command inputs successfully is one of the, I would say, one of the hallmarks of a great Richter mode runner. Especially back when we were on DS. You know, knowing how to efficiently do the inputs really could save you a lot of time. So I go for a pretty risky damage boost there. That one saves a few seconds. I take this room safe. And next we are into our next boss fight, which is Legion. Somehow that activated my phone's Hey Google. Sorry about that. So in this Legion fight, we are going to spam these Firebirds. The Firebirds are a little funny because you actually don't want to use them as fast as possible. You want to space them out a little bit. If you just use them as fast as possible, they have long iframes, so you will your hits will get eaten pretty much. So at this point the run really isn't anything special. In fact, it's quite not good. This early game was pretty messy. I didn't talk about it, but I made a pretty bad mistake in Nest of Evil, or not Nest of Evil, Nation of Fools, where I had to wait a cycle on the fire. And that lost a lot of time, and then the Legion fight was sloppy. But I think it's all uphill from here. Here we're going to see how useful Richter's uppercut really is. And again, I'm spamming it to get that startup time where I get the little boost in speed. And we're into our next portrait already, Dagon's portrait, which is the area that I forget the name of. It's the one bad thing about not having banners. In Jonathan Charlotte mode, you get banners that tell you the name of every stage. And they waste a second and add a bunch of frame-perfect tricks into the run with banner skips. But they do tell you the name of every area, so... Coming up is something very important. Gotta ring the speed bell. A must for every Richter run. So something I haven't touched on yet, and this is more basic movement, is vault kick canceling. This is something you can do by just whipping during a vault kick, which is what I'm doing right now. Here I do a really weird mistake where I backdash twice, and I just like can't switch off Richter. That was probably the weirdest mistake in this run. So yeah, vault kick canceling. You whip to cancel your vault kick, and that transfers your momentum in such a way that you can go downwards and enter your exit, rather, your vault kick quickly. So a pretty smooth portrait until I get hit there. I'm thinking at this point my HP is really good, and then I take that hit and now it's just okay. So Dagon, unfortunately, one of the most RNG heavy bosses in the run. You're hoping for a pretty quick suction. Unfortunately, he instant jumps. That's not the worst thing because you do need to get a few pigeons in on him anyway. And then he suctions, so I think I kill him here off the Guardian Knuckles. So yeah, pretty good fight actually. So Guardian Knuckles, that's something I can talk about. Guardian Knuckles are another command input. They're up, down, forward, attack. And they have two hitboxes, an inner hitbox and an outer hitbox. There I only use the outer hitbox, but later in the run I'll be using the inner hitbox too. And Guardian Knuckles are super important because they do a lot of damage and they recover your HP. The HP recovery bit will be extremely important in the final boss. Which, by the way, this category has one of the most insane final bosses of any Castlevania run. So here you're going to see another cool uppercut sequence. Here I grabbed this health max up. I looked into skipping this, but I don't really believe it to be worth it, at least at this time. It just makes the next couple portraits a lot more consistent for me. Another cool uppercut sequence here. That one's a lot cooler actually, because you have to like aim your uppercut. Alright, the sisters fight. In Richter mode, you actually have to fight the sisters. You don't just sanctuary them. And it is actually one of the most obnoxious fights in E-Run. You can get a lot of different patterns. I got a decent pattern, which is a scripted attack, as I like to call them, into an ice sword. Ice swords are slow, but the scripted attacks are really fast. So now we are into the quote-unquote second castle, where we do all the dark versions of all the portraits. And this is where the run really picks up, because it's just portrait after portrait after portrait. Also where my PB starts to pick up in quality. So something really important is knowing what sub-weapon you're on. Like, for that sisters fight, I had to be on Firebird for Maria because they're weak to fire. But then I had to be on Dragon so I could summon a dragon to clear those imps. And it's just something you have to be really cognizant of if you run this category. So back there to get past the final guard. That final guard actually can be a huge run killer if you're not practiced on your command inputs. You have to do a full circle forward and attack, and that gives you just enough invincibility with the super to go through him. It's a really cool strat, so shouts to Hetfield for that strat. Hetfield honestly came up with many of the strategies in this run, so major shoutouts to Hetfield. So we're coming up on the first boss, so I'm going to go for more traditional damage stacks on. So I'm going to throw birds with Maria, whip with Richter, throw holy water with Richter, and throw dragons with Maria. My spacing here is a bit off. I'm too far to the left. So I don't get these stacks at the beginning, which is quite bad. There I wimp out of throwing the dragon. I get a stack there. And then I think I get another pretty juicy one. Yeah, 3 pretty juicy stacks, so that was pretty good. This run was done offline, by the way, just for some context. I was actually in a voice call with friends, and I do have to give a shout out to my friends who are like super supportive of my speedrun endeavors. They definitely help me keep calm when I'm on good paces and I'm doing rounds offline. Here I go for the worm quick kill, hardest trick in the run. I'm bad, so I don't get it. But basically you would Guardian Knuckle the worm while the cats and Holy Water are on him, and the 2 hitboxes of Holy Water, the 2 hitboxes of Guardian Knuckle, Holy Water, and Kitty Cat would all stack, or they would cause a damage stack, and the worm dies before he can go back underground. So that's a time save for next run, smiley face. I think I hit this save, yeah. 74 is pretty sketchy, and this is the next room coming up, the rock room, as I like to call it. These boulders do a lot of damage. Another instance of using a special move to go through an actor. Really unfortunate RNG here. Usually these ectoplasms are not really a problem, but this run they chose to get in my way. Here I think I did something really sloppy. I'm still on kitty cats, but I don't realize it. Here's what I was talking about earlier. I meant to throw a dragon at that slime, but I was still on cats. So now Maria is cursed and poisoned. It's not a great scenario. I think despite this, I still skip the save here because my HP is really good. Yeah. So overall, things could have been way worse. I definitely stand by the decision to skip that save. So here I get a couple good stacks. Stacking on Mummy Man's pretty easy. Stationary target. I just don't know what happened there. My inputs just don't come out. Little bit of slop. Big stack there. And I think I kind of YOLO a kill here. Yeah. Ideally, like if I was playing it safe, I would have jumped behind him. But I wanted to get the kill fast. Now we're into the dark version of Nest of Evil, which is I keep calling it Nest of Evil, Nation of Fools, which is Fool's Paradise. Actually easier than Nation of Fools. Funny how that works. So I switch Richter to something else for the first time in a while. I switch him to the Grand Cross, and you'll see why I do that in a little bit. And I switch Maria to the blue shell there. The blue shell strat is super cool. It allows you to go through those guys without losing any HP. Here I get a flash kick through the fire, which I'm super happy about, because I get to make the fast cycle in this room. So overall, a pretty clean portrait. Some minor movement stuff could have been better, but good enough for the time I'm aiming for. Here, Medusa, one of the worst fights in the run. There is a damage stack strat on her, but it's pretty inconsistent. You have to cast a Grand Cross and then attack with Maria. I think I throw these the wrong way. Yeah, it's a silly mistake. That timing actually looked good, but sadly I messed up the spacing. That being said, still enough to get a gold split here. Spoilers, every split for the rest of the run is a gold. So now I have Richter back on Holy Water, which is where he'll be for the rest of the run, I believe. Yeah. I get hit there, which is definitely a Castlevania hitbox moment. Going into this portrait, I definitely actually could have skipped this first heal, but I am bad. And wasn't able to. Sorry if you can hear the dog barking. I don't think you can. So yeah, it's the last movement section of the run, really. After this, it's going to be all bosses all the time. I really want to avoid taking damage here, and I take damage here. It's actually a really bad thing to get hit by one of the strongest attacks in the area. So ideally you bonk over those guys. This nursed enemy moved backwards, which is quite unlucky. Because those two things happened, or three things really, because I got hit by the ball and chain guy, I failed the bonk over the red armors, and I got hit by the nurse. I have to heal here. So that's a double heal in 13th Street. They're not great, but the fight is definitely going to make up for it, as you can see here. He gives me a good pattern. And I get just like the most ridiculous damage stacks I've ever gotten in a run. So that gold can actually still be improved. I didn't think about the fact that it was a double heal. So now we're into Bronner. Not a ton, well, okay. I actually do have a ton to say about this fight, but for the purposes of this video, you're basically just going for stacks on him. I get a juicy one there, and a pretty good one there. I played this wrong in hindsight. I should have just, okay, that was a sick dodge, but I should have just, another really good stack there. I should have just cleared this paint. So unfortunately, I do not get an Artless fight, which is where he doesn't do this attack. He can't die while he's in this attack. So, and it's also not great, a great time to get damage in on him. So it's pretty slow. So I lose a bit of time here. And now we're into the hardest part of the run, Dracula and death. So we're going to use Guardian Knuckle here. I'm trying to get hits with both the inner and outer hitbox. The inner hitbox hits more often but does less damage, while the outer hitbox hits less often but does more damage. If I can hit with both, that's great. Taking that hit is not great. This is where the HP restorative effect of Guardian Knuckle is really important. This is kind of an awkward situation. I could have played that a little better, I think. I think I could have gotten a few hits in there. It's really hard to hit with the inner hitbox when he's doing Bat Moon, in my experience. Oh, scary dodge. I think I actually don't get hit for the rest of this fight, which is pretty sick. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, the classic Portrait of Ruin Dracula 2 loop. I nail it pretty much perfectly in this run. But yeah, the way this works is you backdash to set up his initial position. And I am going for a really difficult strat where you go for damage stacks on him while he's in his, like, end lag, I guess. But yeah, the way this works is you go behind him, go back in front of him, and that manipulates him to always do this fire attack, which allows you to get a few whips in on him. So I get a 1 stack there, which is when you stack the 1s. Better than nothing. Ideally, I want to stack the dragon, because the dragon does 43. So if I can do 43 every frame, that's way better than doing 1 every frame. But it's pretty inconsistent. I get a baby stack there. Sorry, my mic just peaked. Doing this on pace is so stressful. Pretty proud of myself for staying calm, because at this point the run is pretty good after that werewolf. Another 1 stack there, and he's close to dead. I believe. No, actually, it's another round. Yeah, there you go. So 27-46. Good run. Not great, but pretty good. Oops.